markets across the globe is looking forward to this. Fed pausing its rate hikes in September. But remember why they actually started this. Fed raises rates by 0.5% because the inflation is super high. They need to actually bring down the inflation. The target is like 2%. So that's what's happening with the markets, because you look at the stock market and you're like, okay, Dow Jones, it's actually pumping, it's moving higher. You're looking at the S&P 500 and you're like, okay, it is moving higher. If you have watched what we've told before through the stock market analysis, you understood like, okay, we are at the pattern support. So we may actually bounce to test the moving average, and that is what is literally happening now. Because last time when you went there, you did that. Before that, you did that. So the possibilities of you repeating that is higher. Now, this actually goes back to a lot of different factors. You're looking at dollar, right? Now, dollar has been strong from a long period of time. And even now, it's just retesting the previous resistance, which it has actually broken right now. But when you are in crypto market, you definitely need to ask a couple of questions to yourself, because you are in the crypto market with your money. Why? If not, when people say this is a bear market, next 3 years it's a bear market, next 2 years it's a bear market, it will be hard for you to make a choice. Because for you, if you are waiting for a bull run, another wave to the upside, literally next 1 year, 1.5 years, and others are saying no, it's going to be a bear market, you finally have to make a decision. So the long-term scenario that does play out. Yes, you can zoom in, you can look at the market, but if you don't take a decision based on this long-term trend, that's going to be hard. Because if you are zooming out, this is what you see, and that literally gives you a lot of idea. Now you can go on to a live chart, see like, okay, where you are in right now, how close you are, do you have a lot of room to the downside. You can do all of those, right? Because short term, yes, you may do drop 20-25% more in general for the altcoin market, right? Then you go look at XRP. Okay, what is it doing? Now, there are people still suggesting we're going to go to 0.2. Now, it's personal opinion, but you do have to look at the price points. Price and the investors reacting to this asset at different levels. So, especially this particular range, we have been there for like 1,351 days. It's 1,351 days in that range. So right now we have came so close to that level. I don't think it's actually gonna break this particular level to the downside. One, we are already 82% to the downside, and that's like, you do like 62, then you did like 75, now 82. It's a progressive stuff which you are repeating. Now, when people do ask this doubt, why do you say there is still a possibility that we may go to the upside? I'll actually take you to silver chart and show you something. You move to the upside once, so that's your wave 1, then you do that twice, wave 2, then you do that third time. Now, that's the completion of 1, and then you go to a consolidation phase. Now, you zoom in here, you are going to get the same direction. Yeah, so you get the first one, you move up, you correct back down, you move up, you correct back down, and then you go to the top. That's the 3-wave structure, and then you go back down, correct back down. But what is literally happening there when you zoom out? Yes, you got that 3-wave structure, but did that happen inside a bull market? No, that was still inside the corrective accumulation zone, right? You corrected all the way back down. This happened inside the accumulation zone. So when you get 3-wave structure and then you go back down, imagine that you are still in that accumulation if you are not continuing higher. Fine. Now, this is the start of wave 2. Why do I say that? You actually get 1, then you get 2, you correct back down, because if you zoom in, you can actually, now this is a weekly chart. If you zoom in, you can see 3-wave structure within this and then dropping below this previous low and then going for a new high, which is even higher compared to these levels. So if you come back to the XRP and look at the same structure, you are kind of looking at the exact same thing there. You do 3-wave structure, then you do go correct back down heavily, which we are doing right now. Then you have this pattern. Now for silver, you have this pattern, and most likely this is going to be the spring most of the silver holders are looking for. This particular area, the dip, it's kind of kicking out a lot of guys with trailing stop loss and tight stop loss, and now it's going to go back up, test this range and break higher. Most likely that is what is going to happen. Why? Because the markets are going to slow down, safe haven assets are going to get more attention. But in general, the crypto market is showing a lot of different stuff. It's kind of small coins. There are some which are really pumping. Now it's really hard to find out all of those at one point. Even if you take like 1-2 hours a day going through all the different charts, it will be really hard to find more, right? At least 2-3, it's really hard. Now we've tried that. We're trying that, and we actually got one like this before, and it was like the chain where we posted like there is a possibility that it may break and go higher. And what happened? This did break higher and it go to that measured move. It did went to that measured move. Fine. So we highlighting like, okay, here, take your profits, because we don't know what the market is going to do. And if there is a bad news, it's going to hit you bad. Now, if you are there, if you are following the markets and you do have the opportunity to do something like this, now it's all up to you. It's all up to your decision, right? Because this market is going to show you a lot of different stuff. Now, one of the easy stuff which you are looking at is like, okay, that particular asset that's still up high and it's slowing down at that top. So when we are saying, okay, consider taking some profits, that's valid. Now you come on to the next loop and you are like, okay, there's a lot of assets which are doing fine here. And now I can't name some of these, but we do have the calls on these with our targets, and they are already moving higher, right? They broke higher from that particular pattern, and the measured move is still way upside. Now that's the post in Patreon, so I won't be saying the name of that asset, but understand, if you put that 2-3 hours, sometimes you may get 2 or 3 assets, but rarely you find like that. Mostly you get 1 or 2 assets showing the similar possibility. So technical analysis gives you that advantage, because at the same time you get HEX just dropping like 90%, which just broke through this pattern support, which is alarming because it was showing you wave 1, wave 2, and then it does break. It's actually alarming because you're going through that, and then you're looking at sell low. You did get around a top pattern which you retested and got rejected and broke this level. Now that drop was huge. It came back to retest the previous low of this wick, and this happens to be 93% correction, which is at the support range right now. So you being in this market, it's going to be a lot of tension, it's going to be a lot of emotion. You need to balance through all of these, right? Now, why do you consider these assets as assets to invest to make money? Because you believe there is upside to it. Now, why do you believe there is a lot of upside to this? Now, this is literally one of the stuff which is happening right now, especially for XRP, Intelligence Protocol, and you can even add on XDC, Quant, XLM and all. But on the macro perspective and at the level which she is highlighting this, it definitely feels like Intelligence Protocol and XRP. Now she didn't actually name it there, but I personally feel like that. Why? I'll actually give you my explanation as I'm looking at all the different news across the board, looking at all of these and like, okay, so IMF chief is saying this, the previous was saying this, and she is right now in the ECB with the bankers, and she's saying this right now. So you kind of get the rabbit hole. You kind of see that right one, and then you're looking at, okay, this literally is happening right now in front of us. We are not looking for anything else. We are just focused on looking at the fundamentals, and we are clearly into that. Now, in this one, I'm going to actually take you to a couple of different reports where you are going to actually get the actual idea. Okay, defining interoperability. Because the IMF chief is highlighting and talking about interoperable platform for the central bank digital currency, this one from the World Economic Forum is super important. And this time, remember, last time this white paper came out, and this time you have Brad in the World Economic Forum giving his opinion and thought process. Then you come on to this one. This is actually from the World Bank. right? Now you can actually come into this, you can take your time and go through the entire article, because this actually talks in detail about the cross-border payments. This came last year. Now they talking you through the interledger. You take through this in this big report. Now this is from European Central Bank. You get a lot of places where it's being cited, and you are getting the Web3 and then the Interledger protocol team, and going back to the citation. If you remember, we went through this particular publication, research publication, right, where it actually highlights how things work, and it really gets connected to the items which has been talked about with Ripple. Now the citation here is the fintech accelerator proof of concept which the Bank of England did. We know that they stated this at the end. This really works well. We need regulatory clarity to implement this. Now that is not a small step. Now I'll actually take you through this in detail. Just stay with me till the end. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now people do ask, okay, how do we actually find these coins? What should I look for? Right? When you are looking for these kind of explosive coins, you need to look at the patterns where they are at, the indicators and other stuff, right? So how do we actually do that? And that's why we are actually doing these short sessions, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. That's what it takes to learn through this. I'm trying to take you guys through that. Now, with the response, I can actually say one step for clear. Now, this may hurt a lot of viewers, but again, I'm trying to be fair, trying to be truthful. If you even see all of these videos, you're trying to learn the process of how to make money, how to understand, how to learn. You learn more, you earn more. But with the percentage of viewers, I can really say, okay, not a lot of people are there to learn. It's clear, it's easy, because when we are putting through all these together, meaning all the news, all the narratives, everything together for you to easily digest that, people do wanna listen. But when you are taking them through this learning session where you have to put your time in, you need to look at the pattern, you need to digest that and put that in your mind, so that next time when you see these patterns on a chart, you're like, okay, this is that. What are the odds or the possibility for this playing out? Then you go look at the indicators, right? You go from there, you take it forward from that point. But not everyone wants to learn, but that's completely great. Even if the viewer count is way lower, I'm fine. I will continue to do that, because those who are going to learn are going to still learn, and as the market hits the bottom and reverses, they will find opportunities to make money. Because when they do find opportunities, what happens with their portfolio? As they do try to trade, they do get opportunities, and when they see these opportunities with these videos and when they learn, they will make money. Now fundamentals are great. If you are a trader or an investor who don't really care about the price and patterns, you don't have to do that. But once you make your money, then you are trying to move this to another area, another asset class, wherever you want to put in. But if you don't really understand how stuff work in stock market, in crypto, or anyway, now you need someone else to manage your money, which will be really hard for you. Even if you don't understand stuff and that guy is giving you the explanation, that's going to be hard. Anyway, let's actually dive back into these charts. Now, there's like last 10 years almost. And inside this Bitcoin chart, you can actually see once you are approaching this particular trend line, you consolidate there, but you are slowly moving to the upside, right? You're not actually staying there constantly, you are moving there. So the parabolic move comes after you bounce. So here you spent like from 2015 all the way up to 2017 in that range of support. Then here you come by late 2018 to early 2019, you stayed there, you got the bounce. Came back, retested that range with long wick to the downside, and eventually you went back up and bounced, but it really took shorter time. So if we are putting that into the perspective, we are like, okay, as we are going higher, each retest is taking shorter time frames. What that means for us is most likely we have done this consolidation, which is long enough, and we've reached that support range. Now, when you compare that with the altcoin market, you're like, okay, you come back, you touch that, you bounce, you come back down, you don't stay there too long, you kind of bounce. each time you're coming back to this range, you get a bounce without much of a delay. So right now when you're approaching there and you see a lot of opportunities in the crypto altcoin market, you can actually use that for your advantage, right? As the market recovers. Now, understand one thing. The market goes up and it goes down. It actually goes down. Now my tongue is kind of getting this twisted in the morning, so just leave that. Sorry. Now, while you look at all of this stuff, you actually get another point here. Okay, you're following the pattern, you're following the trend lines, but on a macro scenario, if you just zoom out, what do you actually see? Now, a lot of people say you are in a bear market, you are in a bear market, you are in a bear market. It's completely your opinion, anyone's guess, right? You can actually say that. Now, looking at the price, you'd really have to come back above this section where you say, okay, we are following the trend, because this has been a long term trend line which you are following. Now, once we are breaking that one to the downside, it actually then goes back to, okay, what are your different support zones? And that comes to this particular range which we highlighted, like 1,300, 1,500 days. You weigh inside this territory. You can literally go into this, and you are now looking at the actual stuff, right? You are looking at this particular zone where the price was tested, then this entire region where it was testing as a resistance, then at the bottom it was support. But once it broke below that, it became a resistance. So now that particular region is also valid. So now the price is in between this range. You have 0.35, 0.34 range acting as a strong support. So you need to actually bounce. So when you bounce, the next key level for XRP is going to be a dollar mark, because this is the trend line. You need to actually go above that trend line. Now, this is one way of looking at that. Now, can always ask, like, okay, what is the other possibility in this market? Now, the other possibility in this market is like you're trying to connect through your resistance, you're going to the upside, and then you're plotting this to the downside. So you come lower here, then you try to connect your resistance, and then it's like this. Previous support is turning into a new resistance zone. So that market cycle is over there. So this entire cycle, this is over here. Now your next market cycle is starting at this point. So you have the room to the upside, right? You are directing the price action to the upside. Now, yes, it can be one of the biggest possibilities in the market. So you are looking for, like, okay, the market can actually slowly go up, but how long it can actually take, no one knows. But that's the hardest part. If the time is on your side, while the market consolidates, you have the ability to stay relevant in the market, because even if it actually dips to 0.3, 0.34 again, you are still in the market looking at the current pattern. Why? Because the current pattern matters, like what you are doing. You went upside, you're correcting back down. So if this goes into the second possibility we just talked you through, that means you are gonna look for a bounce, and that bounce, first one, is going to be like this, 0.7. Now, if you're looking at the first scenario which I explained, you're looking for a bounce towards $1, but most likely this range has been resisting the price from some time, and you're going to get respected there. So you go there to 0.7, you're going to get resisted unless you break that with long volume and the indicator suggesting you that you may go to the upside. But as of now, if you look at the trend, you're still moving lower. You're somewhere close to that support. You can argue on that point, but you do see there is a possibility that the price and the volatility is getting congested in the strength index. And then looking at the MACD, you are like, okay, things are working fine. So you put your maximum and you're like, okay, I've been waiting for a long time. How long should I wait more? Again, no one knows. But when you're close to a support, one thing the market teaches you clearly is you bounce from there. And if the macro and the fundamentals of the same asset is great, what we do is we bounce hard. Now, you have a lot of stuff inside this one. So let's actually look at different protocols, different stuff, and they actually take you through different interoperability solutions. Now, they actually name a lot of different solutions here, including Polkadot, Cosmos, Syscoin, all of those there. But now what you are looking for is like, okay, if I'm looking at all of these, there are a lot of different options which are presented there, but as I move forward, what are these guys using to do their illustrations, to do the pilot programs? What are these big guys, the World Economic Forum, World Bank, ECB, all these big central banks and other stuff? Who do they choose to work with? Now, even though you have 10 options, you'll select one. Say you go into the marketplace and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, but you're going to select a target audience. You're going to select a market, right? So you're going to go find your girl. Interesting. But you'll have your criteria, say 5'5", this color, this blah, 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 but you'll still have options and you go with one, right? If you're going with 2 or 3, that's a different story, but mostly we go with one. So in that scenario, that's the chosen one. Same here, Interledger Protocol. Now you go on, you are looking at all these and again, this is from ECB, right? You're getting the Interledger Protocol. Selected private sector initiatives. So you just saw a lot of different options being named, and some of them really works. It doesn't mean they don't work. But right now, the comparison is this: SWIFT directly against Interledger Protocol. Now, why am I highlighting this so much? Because right now, after the World Economic Forum stuff, it's like, okay, everything is changing. You're getting a lot more attention for the crypto assets. You're getting a lot of criticism for crypto assets from those guys whose position right now changed. Because say right now, Christine Lagarde is like, okay, crypto is worth nothing. Why do she has to say that right now? Because she is the chief of a central bank there. And going back, when she was in IMF, she was not saying that. She was clearly for cryptocurrencies. And you heard a lot of statements directly from her. And right now, this is the IMF chief. And you are getting her narrative here. So if you are watching this video, you are like, okay, that's literally sounding like XRP. Why? Because it's going to be XRP ledger, which is going to be connected to the Interledger protocol, and that's what it is being showed here. Selected private sector initiatives. That's the Interledger protocol. That's not bad, believe me. Then you come as Ripple, who actually use this Interledger protocol. ILP is Interledger protocol. Okay, don't get confused. You're new to that. ILP is there for Ripple to use for its bidirectional communication and the payments, the settlements. Everything actually works well. So when the financial institutions are moving into ISO 20022, Ripple is ISO friendly. Now, ISO 20022 is a messaging format, right? When a financial institution is sending a message to another one, they should be, talking the same language. If you are saying Spanish and I'm speaking in my home language, it doesn't go well, right? There should be something in between either to make it neutral. So once you go through this entire documents, if you really want to, you can actually go through that, because this actually gives you a ton of information. Now, why do I repeat a ton of information? Because if you are going to be here in this marketplace for long enough for you to make money, then you do have to understand the fundamentals. Because if you are investing based on some YouTuber saying something, or just you are traveling in a bus or a metro, someone saying, I'm buying this much XRP, don't buy based on that. Because if you understand what you're buying and for what it stands for, you are now paying proper attention to what's happening in that market. And if that's progressing on the same direction, even if it's a little bit slow, you're like, fine, I'm holding strong onto my bag. I'm holding strong onto my asset, right? That's what actually happens. So when you actually see all of these, don't get confused. Yes, there are a lot of interoperability solutions, but it goes to the selected one. And the selected one happens to be Interledger protocol, which happens to be from Ripple. So Ripple, RippleNet, Interledger protocol, all of them directly goes to the on-demand liquidity solution, which is the XRP ledger using XRP. So if you have a doubt, even a doubt of XRP is going to go to zero, that's going to be really hard for me to digest. Now, yes, the Fed is going to actually kick the market, shake the market. That will always be there. They're going to say one thing and they're going to do another thing. You really know what they did actually with all of the normal guys saying, inflation, it's transitory. Inflation, it's going to go away. then inflation is really good. Now what? They have to fight inflation. So this stuff will always come unless you educate yourself to look at the macro scenario. You won't actually be able to understand this. So guys, you actually clearly need to focus on understanding both the fundamental scenario and the technical one. That's one of the easy part. So the fundamental one you get like this. We all go through this. Different XRP guys, different YouTubers go through this. They put their time and read through that and get the findings and deliver you. But the technicals, you literally have to learn this. Otherwise, you should be in the paid groups where the guys who know this are trying to put more and more time in and provide you with, okay, this is what's happening with this particular asset right now. Okay, so if you're not doing that, you will have to do that yourself. And if you are an investor, start doing that now. Learn, go through that learning process. It may take a year or two, but after that, you're going to come mastering this stuff. With patience, with patterns, with trends, you now know the market for your best, right? So guys, if you like this video, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want these kind of updates, you can look at the Patreon where we deliver value for you and your portfolio, where it actually will help you if you are looking to trade. Now, if you're a short-term guy trading for hourly, weekly, different stuff, that's not going to happen. Now, some of these assets, they just broke higher sooner than we expect. This was like for me like a week pattern. I was expecting for this to play out in a week, but that just happened in a day. Now that's the market, right? But you look at the pattern and plot your targets. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.